You can bring your chairs over.
That's okay. I brought my chair.
You can bring your chair if you want, or you can stand whatever you want. I'm gonna sit right over here. So I can ask questions from here. You can use those if you want. Put your chair really close to the table. Put it really close to the table. Yeah.
She can't get behind you if you're really behind her.
And you get really behind.
I'm going over here.
Okay. Don't even.
I'm not going away from her.
I want my coffee.
I give up. That's all I have. We have little faith and stuff.
She's coming back. She's something fuss about it.
We just don't give her any ideas.
Can you see her in that picture?
You need to go to the bathroom.
No, you don't.
No.
Oh, Janelle would do it.
Okay. No, don't turn it. You guys, every time somebody imagines like that, we're always sweating by lunchtime.
That's right.
It's a bad idea.
Icicles.
No. Perfect. Put a coat on.
No.
Put a coat on.
Don't touch it.
No, please
Don't touch it.
Please don't mess with that because it always gets screwed up and then I can't get it fixed.
I'm gonna buy a Janelle.
I adjust it every time.
She's trying to give you.
I'm gonna buy you a lockbox for that.
I think I laid it longer.
It automatically goes back.
Sticker on the top.
It just means
Okay, here we go. Okay. So we're gonna talk about selling. So what I want you guys to, you can just pop in with whatever you feel like. If you shut that door, it'll warm up, by the way. Somebody wants to shut the door. That's letting the. Are you allowed to do that? Yes, you're allowed to do that. Okay. So I want you guys to talk about how to sell. I want you to talk about like how to sell, set sell, upsell, purchase with purchase, how to sell at a party.
Go Stephanie. Yeah. Go Stephanie. Go Stephanie.
We just got called up for this.
Yeah.
We're just sitting next to you.
Don't you know, teacher?
We just totally got
So I want you guys, whoever wants to pop in and talk, but one of you has to, so you can't all just stare at me. How to set sell, how to sell at a party, how to purchase with purchase, how to sell at a party. Because a lot of people don't know how to sell. Go.
Amy, it's your turn.
No,
You got you. You're it. Got it.
So instead of, let's just use Fridge Smart as an example. Instead of selling one piece of Fridge Smart, how would you sell Fridge Smart?
I know. That's why I picked it. Kirsten's my favorite. It's okay. I love it.
100 points for you.
Fridge Smarts. I always make sure, first of all, I usually carry one, unless it's the BOGO offer or the thing on sale, the big whatever. I usually carry one. One piece, but I have them all turned to the page in the catalog. So I play that same game that Stephanie did with the cooking demo where you ask them to find it. But I specifically point it out and say, I ask you to find this in the catalog because it comes in a set. And so I will talk about, they always want to know what size I'm holding to, so I just get that out of the way. By the way, I'll say this is a small D. You see the different sizes in the catalog. And I point out that they put it in a set to save them money. And I talk about the fact that they're not going to save just one produce. This is usually after I've kind of explained how it works, how the product actually works, and then I go into the set. So talking about saving money, I straight up tell them, I say, here's my sales pitch for you. They did numbers years ago, so the numbers are different now, but years ago, the average family of four would throw away $1,000 in produce a year. It breaks down to about $84 a month. So your choices are to go home and continue throwing away $84 because we're all guilty, or if you bought this set at full price, you start saving the day you have the set. But then I also explained too in there, this is my third, is that this is the #1 reason my hostesses have parties is to give us free or half price.
Because you can get the whole set.
Because you can get the whole set price for half price.
And I talk about you need the whole set because I use the medium for cucumbers and zucchini and green onions, and I use the medium deep for my peppers and my onions, and I use the small deep for, we buy the bagged carrots for the kids for lunches, and we cut up peppers and we put those in there, and we use the small deep for the small.
I know, I always want to put another name.
I want to put another one. It's a small. For berries and that kind of thing. So I give them a reason why they need each size.
And you need multiple things for each one, because if you only say this is good for mushrooms, well, I don't like mushrooms, so I don't need that product.
What's your favorite vegetable? Oh, I put it in this one. Or what do you buy a lot of that you find yourself throwing away? Oh, I put it in this one. The vertical ones are great with corn and all those kind of things. And so giving them a reason why they need each size is the best way that I go about doing it.
Did you have a question?
I did. Can you put like multiple things in one that have the same breathing thing?
And repeat
If they,
that.
yeah, if she asked if you can put multiple things in, you can put multiple things in if they breathe the same and you don't mind if they smell like each other. Like for me, you can put all of your citrus in one, but if pineapple is with anything else, then everything tastes like pineapple. And
Yeah, broccoli gets its
yeah,
own.
exactly. Yeah, broccoli gets its own. Cauliflower gets its own.
Peppers get its own.
But I say something very different to that, because produce that breathes the same doesn't necessarily all have the same moisture content. So if you want your one produce to last the longest that it'll last. Now my team's named after Fridge Smart, so this is kind of my product. I mean, like it's my baby, like her modulars are hers, mine are. But I always tell people, if you want it to last the longest, you only put that one thing in, because the moisture content is different for different produce. And so if you put two things in and one has a higher moisture content than the other, the one that needs to be drier is going to not last as long. It's just, so yes, you can, but you're not going to get the longest life out of your Fridge Smart by doing that. So that's why you need multiple containers. Now I bring the whole set, and I bring the whole set because I think it's more impressive. Like when we have a BOGO bowl set, I think it's more impressive to bring all 8 bowls, because then people go, oh my gosh, I want all of those. However, I like the idea that you can, with just the piece of Fridge Smart that's in your kit, you can still go do a home party and you don't need to have 4 pieces. You can have 1 piece because your kit comes with 1 piece. So I think that that's a really good point that Amy's saying, I just bring 1 piece. I bring too much to a party. I mean, I just do.
Can you talk to how because the produce lasts longer? Because they're all full.
Yeah, and that's what I say. I mean, I say that this one I'm going to put strawberries in. I don't want to put raspberries in with my strawberries because my strawberries are going to smash my raspberries. So I'm going to need this one for my strawberries, and my strawberries are now going to last me a month. So that container is now occupied for a month. And so you really need multiple containers. You really need the 4-piece set. And then the other question that people will always say to me is, well, I don't have enough storage for that. And I tell them this. I mean, I'm really honest. I say, now look at, I can take the lids off and I put them all together and I show them how well they nest together. And I say, I pull the drawers out of my fridge and I actually store my empty containers in my fridge. And the reason I do that is because I'm lazy. You might not get that from me standing up here hosting this party, but I'm really kind of lazy. And if I come home with my produce and there's a drawer in my fridge, I'm opening the drawer, I'm throwing the produce in it, and I'm closing the drawer, and my Fridge Smart that's in the cupboard over there is going to sit in that cupboard over there. It's never going to make it from the cupboard to my fridge. But because these 4 nest so well, I can store them in my fridge, and that gets rid of that excuse of, oh, I don't have enough storage for 4 pieces of Fridge Smart. Yes, you do. Because right at the moment, you got an empty drawer in your fridge or a fridge that's holding a bunch of rotten produce. So I guarantee you have the room
My
for that.
Fridge Smarts don't make it out of the refrigerator. I like empty them, wash them, and put more produce in them. Like my whole fridge.
Plus, they make your fridge look pretty.
Yeah.
And you're gonna feel really silly bringing those raspberries home and putting them next to an empty Fridge Smart.
Well, yes. And we
Because
say,
you can think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. You're not gonna do it tomorrow.
and we say to put them in dry and dirty. So we're saying you don't take your produce over to the sink and wash it and then put it in your Fridge Smart. You just take your Fridge Smart out of your fridge, dump out my rotten produce because I'm lazy. And sometimes we're going to be healthy for the first week, but by the 4th week, I've now got an experiment because that's me.
And then you meant to do it because now
I
you
meant
can
to
take
do it.
pictures and they're before and after pictures.
Totally.
Totally.
I like to talk about my husband actually too, because he's the classic. He'll just shove things in the fridge if he's unpacking the things. But if the Fridge Smarts are in there, and we're almost going to get our new house next week. And
She's been saying that for 6 weeks now.
hey, he did say he's on schedule, so we should get it on Friday. Sure. It was supposed to be September, guys. So
Almost is so much fun.
So when we went to go pick out our appliances, I kid you not, my husband said, I said, well, we need a fridge. You know, we're looking at the fridge. I said, we need one where we can take the drawers out, or it doesn't have drawers. He's like, yeah, but you need the drawers for the crisping. And I said, yeah, no.
He's so cute.
Yeah. He said, let me tell you, that's not going to work. That's the rotting drawer. No. And my husband actually turns to this guy who says, no, she's right. Seriously. I didn't believe her at first. and she had these fridge smarts in there, and I thought it for a really long time, and they really do work. So we do need one that we can either take the drawers out or doesn't have drawers. And he's like, really? And you know, they're having their guy talk kind of thing, right? He's like, yeah, really. And so he sees the benefit of the produce, even though he's not the one who probably eats it as much as the kids and I do. But you know, talking about your husbands or your kids who use them, you know, it's really easy to see what you have and what you don't have. So when I'm making the grocery list, I can open it up and say, oh, because we put the little baby carrots in the kids' lunches, we always have that one. It's really easy to see. I don't have to dig through the drawer to try and find the partial bag that then has moisture all over and has gotten slaggy and the drawer's full of water, you know.
And the drawers, they're really good for things like string cheese and applesauce pouches and ketchup packets, things that litter your fridge all over it. That's what goes in the drawers.
Yep.
I think at a home party too, that there's a lot of fear when you go to a home party. Oh my gosh, I don't know every single thing about this product, so I don't want to talk about fridge smarts. If I am doing a Facebook party, I don't need to know anything about fridge smarts. I don't even need to use it. I've got wording, I can post it, and there you go, and I believe that wording. Maybe I've got one in my fridge and I like it, but I'm scared to go to a home party because that's why we're here, right? Just talk about what the home party is. I'm scared because I don't know everything about it. Go watch videos. There are so many videos on Facebook. Kevin Farrell has videos which are hilarious, but there are videos that you get to learn the science. There's one like that's done in an operating room, but I actually learned a ton from it. The other thing is, it's really weird. In the operating room. Go find it. They're talking about the science. They're doctors. It's really hilarious. But I learned a lot from it. But I think the thing is when you go to a home party, I know, it's weird. When you go to a home party, you're the expert of this. And maybe you only know 3 things about fridge smart. That might be all you know. You know the 3 things about it, and that's all. And you're like, oh my gosh, what if they ask me a bunch of questions? It is never a problem in a home party to say, you know what, I don't know the answer to that, but I do know somebody that does. Let me message her as soon as we're done, and I'll ask her.
Phone a friend.
I actually say phone a friend. And I mean, I've messaged Stephanie in the middle of parties before and said, oh my gosh, I don't know the answer to this, especially in the beginning. I think I knew the answer to nothing. Stephanie, help me with this, like throughout the party. But I think that that's where in the home party thing, if you feel like you have to go and be the expert on things, it's really going to deter you from standing up there. But also remember, they know nothing usually. You're gonna
you know more than they do.
You know more than they do the minute you walked in the door. And you're going to get that random person that sold Tupperware 40 years ago that knows everything is going to say, I remember this, and I remember that. That's really lovely.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart. Right? Oh, honey.
You also have guests and past hostesses at your parties in front of you too. So I literally, Sherry Bear, I have a lady who literally tests these for me. Like she'll buy the produce. She's got, I don't know how many. But if she's ever at a party, there have been times, she's technically on the team, she's a corporate shopper, but there have been times where I step aside, I'm like, and now it's Sherry's turn. Or she sells my fridge smarts for me. Or I call out customers that I know that they bought it at the last party. So I say, hey, how's that fridge smart working? And they talk about it. So they, oh my gosh, my whatever lasted whatever, right? So, and then they're saying it, not you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the best.
And like when Kirsten was talking about how she starts the party and she asks them how they might use 500, I do, okay, tell us your name, how you know the host, and what's your favorite piece of Tupperware?
Yes.
And why do you like it? So then I'm like, you can grab one off the table or just one you have. And so then they are kind of starting to talk about products already that.
So really, I do that too, because it's great. You get to find in the audience who actually uses Tupperware already.
And who's like, oh, I have this Rubbermaid stuff. Like, yeah, that's not Tupperware. We're going to teach you a whole new world.
So we don't use curse words at this party. Because you put your garbage in Rubbermaid and you put your good stuff in Tupperware.
Okay, so now can you talk to purchase with purchase selling?
Dawn's really good at this one. I forget to do it. I was just gonna say I learned the best thing from you. We don't use curse words at this party. I'll tell you what I learned from you.
Maybe I should do it at my next party.
I don't know. There's a video of you somewhere, and you tell I think you're doing a mock party, and you tell everyone to flip to the back of the catalog. And so, and I was like, oh, genius.
I do that.
You write this down. And so she says, you said something along the lines of like, the best things are always on the back. And so she flips over the catalog and has all the guests do it and says, this is our purchase with purchase deal. When you spend $40 out of this catalog, which is nice also like to have it physically in their hands because they realize that's the catalog they're spending the $40 out of, then you can add on this. And whether you have the item or not, you show the picture or you show the item, right? The refrigerator bowls are nice to have because the ones right now, because they're a good size and people can't always see that in the picture.
Well, they're the ones your grandma had.
Right. And they're not available anywhere else. So, and then also the sales, there was the video that she did, there was something with the sales flyer as well.
So what I always do is they have their catalog with their sale flyer in it. I'm like, oh yeah, I do that. You know, you do so many when I get to a party, it's just I don't realize what I do. I just do it and then I'm done and then I forget what I did. I know. So when you get to a party and you've given people catalogs and sale flyers, what are they doing? Because are they watching you or are they looking through their catalog or sale flyer? Like right at the moment, they're sitting there flipping through it. They're paying no attention to you. So I need them, because I talk about the sale items first. I have just kind of a process the way I do it. I pull up the sale flyer and I go, oh, you're all looking through already, but I want you to grab this one. And the first thing I want you to do is flip it over to the back, because they've already gone through the whole thing. They've not paid attention to that. And I have them flip it over to the back. Usually I have what's ever on the back of the catalog and the sale flyer. And those things I leave in the center of the room for them also to look at the whole party so they don't forget about them. Kirsten taught me, and sometimes I remember to do this, sometimes I don't. When they have a purchase with purchase, to always have it sitting next to you when you're adding up the orders. So when someone brings you an order form, I go, oh great, Stephanie, do you know you spent $40? You can buy these.
No, my favorite is, you spent $75. You know, if you had $5 more, you could get 2 sets of these.
Right. I
You've
forget.
qualified.
You've qualified. You've
I should
qualified for
qualify.
this exclusive offer. Is the words I use.
so it's going to be.
Right. And I like to oh, I saw that you ordered this. Did you know that you can get this right now for only $10 and it's going to help you with this? So finding what they've bought and connecting it with the purchase so that they see that how they play together. But then having it at the table again to remind even myself to ask, oh, did you want to add that? You qualify for that. And if they say no, no problem. But if they say, sure, why not? Usually it's kind of a, sure, why not? Or no, thank you. It's not a big deal.
They're not going to hate you because you asked.
No, and it's kind of like, think about when you go to the grocery store or whatever, or you go to Walgreens and they say, hey, would you like to take advantage of our special
Whatever's
candy
right
offer
there.
that
Yeah.
they have right there? And you just say, no, thank you. And they say, okay. It's the same thing. It's
like asking if you want a value meal. Do you want fries and drink with your
do you
burger?
want it? Yeah. Would you like the small or the medium or the large size? It's a sales tactic that businesses use all the time, and that's what we are. It's a business. They're not saying no to us. They're saying no to that product. They don't want it. Okay, that's fine. Or they do.
And I love that there is a purchase on the catalog that they have to spend out of the catalog, because you should not just be selling out of the sale flyer. If your whole business depends on the sales, if you don't like the sale flyer, then
That month is hard.
your month is going to be really hard. I mentioned the sale flyer a little bit. Maybe I'll point out my couple favorite things, but I sell out of the catalog. The main catalog is my tool. I want them to work things out of there, because then they can get it for free and half price. If I'm only selling out of the sale flyer, then they only can come, or only think they can come while that's on sale, and they don't know what the next sales are, so they don't need to come to any more parties after that because they don't know what's on sale. It's not a big deal. If they always want stuff out of the main catalog and they never have everything, like even if they think they have everything, they never have everything, then they will want to have a party.
And like you said, the free or half price is another reason to book a party.
Stephanie also does food demos at her parties, and I think you guys do too, because they're all Stephanie's
They're my people.
I'm Kirsten's people.
You're all my people.
Yeah, but
I live further away. I can do
Yeah. I don't do food demos. So I want to also say that if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm scared to death to do a home party because I've watched Stephanie's and she cooks these fantastic things for all these people. I do home parties, and those of you that are food demos, those of you that watched my pressure cooker demo, if you did not see the major error I did in the very middle of it, you need to go back and watch that video again. It's why I don't do food demos, because I make everybody at the party sick.
So I do want to point out though why I started doing food demos. So I was one of those, you'd never know it now.
But I will do it. I'm
Yeah,
doing a lava
yeah.
cake on
Oh, no,
Sunday.
I know you will. I know you will. when I first started selling Tupperware, you could not have paid me to sell Tupperware. I hate it. Like, I wanted a discount. That's all. You could not have paid me to sell Tupperware. And so I finally said, okay, well, yeah, I guess I can make some money with this. And I started doing it, and I felt so awkward at parties. I was not good in front of people. I mean, that's something that Tupperware's given me, is I can talk to you, and I don't really like it, but I can do it.
You don't like
It didn't exactly come out right, but you know what I mean. I know there's a difference. Yeah. I don't like to be the center of attention, but I can do it. If I didn't tell you that, you probably would not have realized that I'm very uncomfortable right now. Like, my heart is beating faster and I shake sometimes. I was shaking when I was chopping the chicken. I don't like being in front of people. That's not me. If it wasn't Kirsten, I probably would have said, no, I'm not training today. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't.
But
so
she's good at it, isn't
she's
she?
very good. Because I've had 11 years of practice. Okay? Yeah, right. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. So but I needed a process. I needed a list, and I needed something to go in order. So I decided if I do a food demo, then I have this list of products that I have to demo because I have to make whatever this is. So that party, I found a recipe that's phenomenal, right? I mean, it was yummy, right? I will have people, they went to a party that they made that, and then they'll ask for it again at their party. Like the same thing, don't change anything. I loved it just the way it was. Can you make that again? Okay. I mean, I'll do the same party 80% of the time because they ask for it. I'll give them choices, but no. But that's because I have my list. I know exactly what I'm going to demo. When I first started selling and I didn't have a demo, I'd like, oh, now what do I talk about? I don't know what I'm going to do now. I don't know. And I would be awkward and I'd stand there and it was just weird.
It feels more about you.
Yes.
But by doing a demo or cooking something
Yeah.
or just showing, one, I feel like then they see it in action. They see how they could actually use it. Sometimes with the Quick Chef or the Power Chef, it's like, see how easy this actually is. No, I'm not joking. It actually is this easy. Or, oh, the chicken's kind of stuck when I'm doing the Quick Chef, because sometimes I use the Quick Chef because I want a thicker chop. Oh, so I just rock it back and forth. It's fine. You know, and so the little trials and errors and those kind of things, they can see that it's real, and it feels more about the product, and they're watching the product. They're not watching me.
It was less awkward for me.
Yeah. Me too.
So that's why I cook at parties. It's not because, oh yeah, I love cooking. No, I cook way more at my parties than I do at home. Yeah.
And it's
She lived with me for a week. She knows that's true.
and it's totally awkward for me to cook at a party.
Yeah,
I cook at a party and I get all nervous and I'm afraid I'm going to screw something up. And it is just, I'm going to make a lava cake on Sunday because she's requested it. But that's just chocolate cake and a stack cooker for 9 minutes.
But what you're pointing out is you can do
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah,
is
right.
you're comfortable
Yes.
with.
It's our comfort zone.
Yes.
And
But I
that's
think
okay.
sometimes that, like, if you do something at a party that you're not necessarily totally comfortable with, it just shows the host that, like, even though this may be a difficult thing normally, it's so easy to do with Tupperware because Tupperware makes it.
Yeah, Tupperware
Like,
makes
you
prep
wouldn't
easier.
Make a lava
It
cake
makes-
if you had to bake it in the oven and then insert the,
Too much work.
And the fun part is, you know, if you screw up, oh, you two can sell Tupperware. Let's just, you just make a joke about it. It's like, it's gonna happen in your kitchen. We're not all perfect. We're human. And it's another recruiting tool because look, you can do this too. You know, because I'm cooking something and boom, the bowl goes down on the floor and you're like, you know, you can make a big deal out of it. And you're like, this is why I sell Tupperware, not glass.
My favorite is when I cut my finger on the Quick Chef and I do the rest of the party like this.
Oh,
I haven't done that
Look at this one-handed bowl right here.
I knocked over a champagne glass, grabbed it, cut my hand, and the hostess had to step in while I walked her through. She did the entire food demo because I was bleeding so bad.
Did
and
she
had no
join?
Band-Aid.
Did you join your team?
No.
Oh.
But she had a great party. I continued to drink champagne.
Because nobody tells us we can't drink at work.
Do not drink. And I told Kristen, I go, dang it, I tried to cook again. She goes, Heidi, it wasn't the cooking. Yes. Maybe not. But my hostess did it, and it turned out a great party because my hostess was able to demo the whole product.
Yes.
So, you know,
I guess what we're all trying to say is be scared and do it anyway.
yeah.
My first year's worth of parties. I mean, think about that. A whole year's worth of parties. They were so painful. I'm not even joking.
I still get nervous.
And yet she's still
Yeah.
here.
I am. I'm here.
I still have to like, okay, I can do this, and I'll be texting Stephanie and think, oh, no party, and she's like, you got this, you can do this, you know. And I get up in front of people all the time. I'm a teacher. That's, you know, that should.
I collect teachers.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
But I still get nervous about it. But then once I start talking to people just talking to people. I mean, that's the thing, is remembering that your host and your guests, they're people. They have families or they don't. They have jobs or they don't. They have, you know, things coming up that are exciting and things that are coming up that are challenging. And if you just talk to people like people, then it's just a bunch of people sitting around on the couch or around a kitchen table or around the island in the kitchen. Like, if you start to think of it like, hey, I'm gonna go meet some new people and maybe add some friends to my life
And have a mimosa.
and have a mimosa maybe. I don't know.
Don't cook and have them mimosa. Either cook or have them mimosa.
Margarita.
Yes. But if it's about your mindset. It's about one. I mean, we talked about this at the team meeting at the end of October. It's about remembering that you're a valued business. You have a quality product that you're selling, just like anybody retail box store you're going to. And then it's about people and making connections and helping to make people's lives easier, to help make their families' lives easier, to potentially help another woman or man have a business for themselves, make extra money, or just make their lives easier, maybe eat healthier, that kind of thing. That's what it's about.
I mean, they could make money and be homeless too.
Yeah, I know.
No,
I'm not
it's
homeless, I'm houseless.
That's right. She will never be homeless.
One week.
I think that one last thing is that I don't cook because I'd like to try to do multiple parties in one day, and for me, I don't like to do dishes, and I would.
Oh, I tell my host to
do.
do dishes.
Yeah, well,
Here's an extra gift. Go
So-
wash my dishes.
My husband threw a dishwasher when I get home.
Right. I know. I know dishes. So if I'm doing multiple parties in a day, because for me, a lot of times, I will throw all my parties and I'll have like 6 parties in one weekend. Why? Because I just want to get them all done. I will tell you, when I did 3 parties in one day, I called both of them.
And I
between
told her to
every-
never do it again. Take notes.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
And I told her,
So,
do it, just do it a little more effectively and pay attention to where you're booking the location.
and then, well,
She
then,
was like an hour and a half apart. I'm like,
so then about a month ago, I did 2 parties in one day, and I called Kirsten. I'm like, dang it, I'm done with my second party. Why didn't I book my party for tomorrow today? And I just got all 3 of them done in one day.
And I said, I told you so.
She's just like, so I think that's part of another reason I don't cook is because I try to do multiple parties in one day, and I don't have time to really bring both sets of things or do dishes.
I just bring extra gifts.
And I think a lot of people think that the home party, because I do both, and I work full time and I have 2 kids and they have their things, soccer and karate, and I'm homeless, thank you.
Houseless.
Anyway, I think sometimes we think that we're too busy and that it's I will hopefully have a house that my dad's gonna figure out how to cook in. Just stick through boxes. You're helping me move on Saturday, remember?
Thanksgiving's at your house.
Yes.
Have a big kitchen. That's right.
Anyway, it's totally made me lose my train of thought.
You're too busy.
I'm busy. I really am, and I
Yes, she is.
And a lot of times, I think some of us think that the home party is too hard because it's time, and it's actually less time. It's the host coaching and that kind of stuff, and is still stuff I do over message. I can still do it even when I'm walking from one school to the next.
It's still on your time.
It's still on my time, and I control that. Okay, I know that we have karate on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I know Wednesdays we have Awana, so I book for Mondays or Fridays. And I just say that's what I have available. I control that. And my kids are a part of my business. I mean, Stephanie, we breezed into her house because all of my Fall Fest packs are there, and it was like, all right, kids, grab boxes, grab tape, and foom, 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 foom.
She was done in like 20 minutes. I was like, dang, girl.
But we make
I ran
it.
out of bubble wrap. I didn't do it.
I know.
Thank you guys.
No,
Oh,
Joe
Joe,
Ray.
it's Joe.
Oh, we could all kiss Joe right now.
But
Joe is glad that she's not here.
what I'm saying is,
Throw that out there.
anyway, you can do it. It's about
very professional panel.
You too can sell Tupperware.
I had the biggest compliment ever last week. She said, I love coming to your stuff because it's like we're sitting on the couch having coffee with girlfriends. I'm not a presenter. I'm not a demonstrator. I'm like, I want to have coffee or vodka. What's in the cup? No, it really is just coffee.
Okay, so I want you guys to talk about how to demo a product, but I don't want you to buy it yet. What that is and how you use that.
Oh, that's fun. Because you get them really excited. Oh my gosh. That's, yeah.
I didn't say repeat what I
Oh,
said.
so how do you demo a product but then tell them not to buy it? Okay, and why you do this? You're like, why do you do this?
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Just wait.
It's because you know what's on the next sales flyer 2 weeks
But
ahead of
they
time. But they don't, and they can't. Right? So we don't get to say, well, this is on the next sales flyer, but you can say, I don't want you to buy this yet. So you get them all excited, right? Fridge smarts. We go back to the fridge smarts. We've got them all excited. You're like, I know you love these, but I'm not going to let you buy them today.
I'll even tell them if it is on your order form, I'm going to scratch it off. You may not purchase it.
Because we're going to have a party in 2 weeks.
And then you're going to get it
And-
at half price.
Because you know what's coming, but you're not telling them what's coming. You're looking out for them, right? You're looking out for them as I take care of my people. You're my people, okay? And I'm going to look out for you. I'm not going to let you waste your money. So I'm going to say, you need these to save yourself money in the long run on your produce, but I'm going to save you even more money and you can buy them in 2 weeks when you party with me.
And then you need to clarify, this is what you want to buy today. Don't just talk yourself out of a sale. This is what you want to buy today and why, because you still want to help your hostess. You actually have to tell people that.
Yeah.
You still want to help your hostess, and then she's going to come to your party and she'll probably help you too. But then everybody's going to get a better deal on this one, but this is what everybody's going to get today. So you want to make sure that you demo something that everybody has to have today, as well as what they're going to get in 2 weeks when you have a party with that
And
person
you
who just
say-
volunteered.
Who's having the party in 2 weeks?
So we all can get back together. Yeah, so Kristen said, who's volunteering to have the party in 2 weeks? Whose house are we going to in 2 weeks? Okay, all right, we're going to your house.
And that party doesn't play.
Because everyone's waiting to go buy whatever you just made them excited for.
And it can be the exact same people in the room, and they'll all spend just as much money because they have a reason to show up to that party, already knowing what they're going to buy. And then you're going to demo different stuff and make sure that they want more stuff too.
So what are you going to say to the host? Make sure there's more people in addition to that.
Say that again.
What are you going to say to the host or do with the host to make sure that it isn't just the exact same?
So like the new host or the
Yeah,
current?
the new
host.
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't understanding. All right. So what you're gonna say to the new host is, well, the easiest, like this is like the lazy version. If you have 5 people there that I've never met before, I'm gonna have a bonus gift for you. That's like the laziest answer ever. They're like, I have ideal little bowls coming out the wazoo. Here, take my bowls. Take them. And then I'm gonna ask them. Don't just say it once. You raised me, aren't you?
I
proud?
did. I'm over here going.
Yes, yes. But then you have to ask her again, like, how are you doing on getting those 5 extra people there? Or how many people are you up to?
That's the host coaching.
Yeah, you can't just say it once and then hope they remember. They're not gonna remember.
I
Remember,
also-
it's not their job to remember.
I also tell the guests, I would look at them and say, okay, Heather, I'm so excited because you're going to come to Kristen's party in 2 weeks or whatever, right? If you bring a guest, I'm going to give you and your guest something special too. So if you want something else, I don't know, if you have a bunch of ideas, bring a bag of them and say, you want one of these? I'm going to bring you one and your guest one when you bring somebody. And so that they're bringing somebody new as well.
My grand opening party, I had a hard time getting people and brought Tupper minis filled with M&Ms to everybody.
Yeah, why did I do that?
I don't know. I think you wanted Trey to have something to do because you brought the M&Ms in a bag and then he helped fill.
M&Ms are really good in vodka too.
And you wonder why I have drunk parties.
But you sell a whole lot of Tupperware.
I do sell a lot of Tupperware. I really don't drink that much, you guys.
I don't
Bring
really
it with her.
either, but it's fun to talk about.
So now let's talk about,
Explain how you get the giveaways, the ideal little bowls, all those things that are good to you.
we're talking about that.
Sales aids. The dating gifts. Right.
Oh, she
So,
wants you to talk about when there's a good one. Right.
so if there's like the Tupper minis that were just on sale, they were
12 for 15.
The dating gifts.
No, she's talking about dating gifts, but like when I deal bulls or not lame, right?
So when we have the dating gifts, the ones that
Dawn's trying.
I got it.
Try not to just say it here.
So the dating gifts that we can get where we get 4 for $4, I buy extras when they're really good ones. You know, when the mini salt and pepper shaker ones go on sale, people, everyone's looking for the mini salt and pepper
And
shakers.
those are only for booking parties.
Those are only for
Don't
booking
sell
parties.
us. Don't.
Okay, no,
We'll
don't.
track you
So,
down.
But they make amazing gifts to get people to come to parties and date parties. Okay, so buy extras because it's $4 for 4. You're talking about $1. So if Heather's bringing Kirsten and I give Heather a set of salt and pepper shakers, I give Kirsten a salt and pepper shakers because they came and then it was $2, right? And then they go and spend $100, well worth my $2.
Or they book a party.
Or they book a party because they're new to Tupperware, and now she's going to get the actual dating gift. But I mean, I don't go completely overboard, but that's how we get
Depends on how much
those.
I like them.
It really depends. Well, it depends. I mean, when I order them, I don't order
Oh, yeah.
8,000 of them, but I do order, and I've got a little
keep
bin
you.
that is just the extra dating gifts that I can pull out to give as, or you brought a guest. I know that the host had to work super, super, super hard to get people here. And if you book a party today, I'm going to give you this little ideal bowl. And when your party holds, I'm going to give you this because that's what the dating gift's going to be. Okay, it's $1.
And you can stack the host too. If you have $200 in orders before I walk through the door, in hand, paid orders, I'm gonna have another one for you.
Yeah.
If you have a person that dates a party before I even get there and they put a date in my calendar, I'm gonna give you another one.
Yeah.
I'll give her 8 bowls if she already
Yeah,
does.
it's like, hey guys, I'm so glad you came. You know, Stephanie booked a party with me 2 weeks ago and she held her date, so she's gonna get that for free for me. So thank you for holding your date. I really appreciate that.
I'm gonna put chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. And then you know what? Stephanie was talking to a friend of ours who couldn't come to me, and she booked a party for next week. And so thank you for helping me grow my business. And I'm gonna give you that one for free. And then she had some coworkers. Oh, goldfish. That's great. We can put in this one because I'm giving her another one because she had some friends at work who couldn't come, and so she just collected some orders, and we have $200 already to help her get her.
Oh my God.
So, going to AA afterwards. But now what I'm doing is everyone is literally seeing what she's getting, and this cost me $4. If this was the dating gift, I just grabbed it, was right behind me. But I would do this with the dating gift, and you two can get free Tupperware. And then later on, you're talking about how they can get free Tupperware.
And to be clear, that cost you $4, but that is a value for 20 or 25. I don't remember off the top of my head.
There's 6 each, I think.
Okay, so $24 value. The host doesn't see your $4 cost. She sees that you just handed her $24 in value, right? So she feels super special, super loved. Everybody in the room is like, oh, right? I want all that free. Look at, she gives away so much stuff, right?
Well, and I will tell you, all you have to do is go to another direct sales company. I mean, nothing against those direct sales. I'm consumers of a lot of other direct sales companies. But if you go to one of those parties and you see how much they get for free, like how much they're stacking the hostess with, it's usually not that much. Like we can give really nice gifts. Tupperware makes it affordable to give really nice gifts. It's really big. Like I'll go to one party and I'll get one little thing, maybe, okay? Or I'll talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, I can't give away lots of stuff because I have to buy it at full price. Yeah.
Or their discount on full price, which is still not.
Yeah, or they don't even get sales credit for it. Like we don't get sales credit for our sales needs, but say you do those Tupper minis that you got 15 for 12 for 15. Like I said that wrong. 12 for 15. You got sales credit on that. Then you're going to earn your bonus, and then you're going to make more money off of that, and then you're going to give it away, and they're going to love you, and it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Okay, last thing I want you guys to talk about is, no, not last thing, just kidding, is booking parties off the party. So creating the why during the party to close the deal.
I would say if we go back to the Fridge Smart, the one big way I book a party is because I have all 4 pieces of Fridge Smart. I bring the entire Vent and Serve set. So I bring 2 big things. Vent and Serve and Fridge Smart are my 2 favorite products. So I bring the whole thing. The Vent and Serve set, if I was gonna show the Vent and Serve set, I talk about Maria, it's my favorite, why each piece is exciting to me. I would say this is $125. And I said, I will happily take your $125. But if you have a party, you can get this for half price. You can get this whole set. You can throw out all that fakeware that's in and start all over with this brand new, beautiful set of Vent and Serve. And so I use that. And then and I tell people, a $275 party gets you a half price item and you can get this for half price. Because I think what happens at a party, people go, oh, I can't have a $1,000 party, so I could get that for half price, because they haven't connected that. So I make it really clear that with you just have 5 friends there, 4 or 5 friends there. That's easily a $275 party, and you can walk home with this for half price. So I not only sell, but I use my sets. You can give me the money, or you can book a party and you can buy it for half price.
I tell them that me plus 3 is a party. And I also tell them that the average Tupperware party is $500.
And I tell them that too.
And our party average is higher than any other direct sales too. So since our party average is higher, we make more and our hosts make more too.
Yeah. When I'm cooking, I'm usually demoing a higher price item. So I will make sure to talk about that specifically being the half price or free item. Also, as the party kind of just naturally goes, if there's ever a time where you can point out like, oh, look how fun this is. Look how easy this is. Aren't you guys all having a great time? I mean, like casually bringing up so that people who are on the fence as they go think, well, I don't know if I could do this, or I don't know if I could have this many people, or, you know, that kind of thing. The one I get all the time is, oh, I don't have any friends. I said, that's funny. I heard that about 2 months ago and ended up with $500 in 2 bookings. So we'll find some friends. So I'll come. Yeah, I'll come. Right. And usually the hostess will pop up and say, I'll come. Because
you can even help and say, Kirsten's gonna come. She, you came to her and supported her.
Right.
She's gonna come and support
And
you.
she's not gonna look at you and be like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
She'd be lame.
Well, and so you're dropping those little nuggets throughout the party, and then in the end, you play some game to seal the deal. So, and that's coming later. I'm transitioning.
Coming in a second. You're doing great.
I'm transitioning.
And last, I want you to talk
right,
about.
there's a question.
Yeah, there's a question.
I hear every single time, without fail, I don't have any friends. Or I don't have any friends that would come. They're all as poor as me.
Me plus three. Me plus 3 is a party. Or I personally have the story where I've had so many hostesses tell me that. And I'll use my most recent one and I'll say, well, that's funny. I heard that my hostess had 5 people show up and it was a whatever party. I mean, whatever is most recent.
Invite your neighbors. I've invited my neighbors to my party. I have great neighbors. Not everybody has great neighbors, but
and you never know who's gonna show up. Just invite.
They don't have to be your friends to come.
Yeah, they
I'm
can
just
be
we'll take their money either way.
Well, I think part of that is saying, there's coworkers and neighbors and family and church friends and your kids' parents.
Yeah, you can find those lists if you can get someone out of each category.
Yeah. Well, and you just never know who wants it. So let's see who wants it.
Let's try it.
Let's try it. What's the worst thing that happens? You get a free.
It's free to try, and you get this
free to
gift
try,
just for
and I'm
trying.
gonna give you a free gift for trying.
And I'll even say that, ironically, I don't like wine, but I'm gonna say this anyway. I don't. But I'll say, if nobody shows up, because that's what they say. Well, what if nobody shows up? That's okay. We'll sit and have a glass of wine. And then you can bet I'm gonna recruit her, but she doesn't know that yet.
Because if I have to sit and drink wine with you, you're gonna be on my team. I think the last I want you to talk about is how to recruit out of party.
Stephanie?
Heidi, your turn.
Go.
I've talked a lot. I know. It was all part of the plan.
Just start talking.
You got
us.
sure.
Start talking and then she'll remember something.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what is Heidi talking? I don't know.
You just can't start it. Just start.
Well, that's the obvious one.
Well, yeah, you talk about that because
Okay.
that's the obvious.
Well, I recruited a party every week. Jared saying this died the battery.
It says low battery. It
It's
doesn't.
not dead yet. Close.
Keep going. Is it still recording? Okay.
You can also say something that
Yes, it is.
Does
So-
it say recording?
It says
Hey,
on the
Stephanie,
top
yes.
left.
Okay.
How do you recruit the person that you were just talking about? If nobody shows up,
Mhm.
then we're just gonna sit and have wine.
Mhm.
So if nobody shows up and you just sit and have wine, why would she be encouraged to recruit something that she can't even get guests
Well, because she's had a bottle and a half of wine.
Just kidding.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
She asked how you recruit the person who couldn't get anybody to show up.
I'll pull out different tactics. I'll say, let's get out these lists and I make sure it's casual. Like I don't want to make this a business meeting. Like I'm wearing my jeans to my parties. Like I'm just a person and I'm just talking to my girlfriends.
Well, and you're offering to redo a party with.
Yeah. So I'm offering more of my time to them. Yeah. And I'll say, well, let's think about your neighbors. Let's just make a list. Let's think about your neighbors. Who do you know? Again, they don't have to be your friends. Who do you know? Okay. And then let's think about, well, your kid, do they play soccer? Do they play basketball? Like, who do you sit with on the sidelines? Because you talk to them because you're there like all the time, right? Okay. And then let's see, do you go to church? Who are your church friends? Who do you sit next to at church? And then you talk about 4-H or Boy Scouts or whatever. I mean, just pull out a bunch of stuff. Who do you know? Don't ask who their friends are, okay? And then you can even say, let's open up your friends list on Facebook. Let's open it up. Let's just look. Because it's like death to me when somebody says, oh, well, I can't book a party or I can't have a party because nobody would come. And they won't open their list of friends, okay? Because, oh, well, I asked my 3 friends. Honey, you have 2,500 friends on Facebook. You have more than 3 friends. But who they thought about was the 3 people that are at their house, okay? So then you open up their friends list and you go through the A's. Can you find like 8 A's that you invite? Then you go through the B's. I'll bet you could find 9 B's that you could invite. Okay? I mean, seriously, you just keep going. B's. The B's. Maybe a C or D.
I think it's about,
I play a game.
we've talked about this before, but you don't want to put them in a box, and you don't want your host to put their acquaintances and their friends in a box. And so it's trying to get your host to realize, you don't make that decision for them. Offer the opportunity to just, hey, let's come and sit around the table and catch up.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to make you a snack.
And have someone.
I don't even make my husband a snack.
We haven't seen each other in a while. Why don't you come hang out? Well, Stephanie's gonna make us some snacks, and we'll see what happens. Like,
You want free tacos?
free tacos, right? But it's not. Sometimes, just like we can tend to put people in a box and think,
all the time.
We don't want to recruit that person because they're going to say no. They've got all this going on, so they're going to say no, or they're too busy.
They already have so much money.
And we make that mistake. And we put them in that box. Our hosts do that for their friends as guests. And so helping them open up and say, hey, you know what? You never know. They might be looking for Christmas shopping. They've got new grandkids and they want the Shapo toy because everyone had the Shapo toy. Let's just see. And, if they come, great. And if they don't, you're going to get something free for giving it a shot.
I play a game at every party. Every single party in the middle, I pull out citrus peelers. I get people excited about citrus peelers. Pampered Chef charges $2.50 for a citrus peeler, so I'm going to give mine away for free. So they get really excited about it.
Where are those in the catalog? I can't find them. You can't buy them. They're not for sale.
Right. And I say, I'm going to give one to everybody here, and we're going to play a little game. And my game is Ask Me About My Tupperware Job. I do that in the middle of every single party. And if they don't have a question, if they sit there silent, I have to let them know that no question is off limits. If they want to know what my bonus check was last month, I'm going to tell them what my bonus check was last month. Why? Because I want them to know that there's money in Tupperware. Because people will say, I've done direct sales before and I made no money. Me too.
Me too.
I did too, and I made no money.
Yep.
I collect winners.
Yeah.
If they don't have a question, if I sit there in a room full of silence and they're all looking at me, I will say, do you want a citrus peeler? You want one? I'll give you a question. And I'll give them a question. Now, I have the best question ever because I get to pull up in this car, and I always park it very strategically that everybody has to pass it when they walk in. So they always can start with that question. But I guarantee you, if I give one person a question and they start, it triggers the rest of the room. Just like us being up here has triggered questions in the room that you might not have had the minute we sat down here, right? It'll do the same thing. I always play Ask Me About My Job. Always, always, always.
So in return, when they ask you the question, they get the citrus peeler.
Yep. They ask the question, they get a citrus peeler. And every single person asks me a question. I don't care if there's, well, the party that had 27, they did not, I don't even think I played that game. I don't think I could.
No, if I have a party that's exceptionally large, which is rare, but if I do, then I will just grab a handful of citrus peelers, and when they're gone, they're gone.
Right.
So that we still might have 10 questions, but I'm not doing 27.
Yeah. But if there is a party with 5 people and 4 people have asked a question, I make sure every single person has a question in every week, because we all leave winners, and I don't want anybody to leave empty-handed ever, even if they're just leaving with a citrus peeler.
And you can just say, did you need help with the question? If they say, yeah, say, ask me, how much does it cost to get started? And I go,
I just say, oh, I'm so glad you asked how much it costs to get started. I always wanted to know that question. And then they're all laughing, and then I answer the
I
question.
do like the same thing. So they'll say, how much does it cost to get started? I'm like, what a great question. I'm glad you thought of it.
Yeah.
You know, and then give them the citrus peeler in place. So you can make up and then just steer them toward the questions you want to answer.
Yeah.
Hello. Don't ask a boring one. Come on.
And you have to qualify, like, it has to be with the business. not
Right.
with the
You
product.
can't ask me how old my oldest child is.
I will always say, do not, because I don't talk about Fridge Smart and Ben Serve until the second part of my party. I'm very way to do it. But I always say, you can't ask me about my favorite product, because my favorite product is Fridge Smart and my second is Vent and Serve. So now I've gotten that out of the way. That way they can't ask. They can't ask it.
Because they do ask.
I'll say, ask me a question about my job. You can't ask about product for a second. Ask me about my job. If they ask a question about product, I go, that's a great question, but it's about product. So ask me a question about my job.
And then everybody else goes, oh, I'm like, yeah, I'm hardcore. Yeah.
Busted. Follow the rules here.
So, yeah.
Okay, so about 2 years ago, a lady talked me into doing a touchstone crystal party.
Okay.
She gave me a list. I told her I don't have that many friends.
Sure.
And she gave me a list of, with 40 lines on it.
Yeah,
And
the
she
list we were
says-
talking about earlier. Yeah.
She said, start from the bottom.
Yeah.
From the bottom up. I must have missed that. Did you say that
Uh-huh.
already?
Mhm.
And I ended up with 40 people on that list, and I had 16 people at my party.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where
That's
the
a,
16
yeah,
people
you
are?
literally have to.
I have no idea. You didn't know everybody wanted to be your best friend.
How do you recruit people that are not the host at a party? How do you?
Amy, talk about this
I knew
one.
this was coming.
I didn't point at
Okay,
you. That's her fault.
So, well, okay, so I,
That's okay.
so
I'm gonna preface this. Last month, we had a meeting. We'll call it a meeting. Sure. We had salsa, and I said, so what are you gonna do that's gonna make you a little uncomfortable? What are you gonna do that's gonna make you uncomfortable? And we're going around, we're chatting nice, and Amy says, I have never recruited a guest at a party. I recruit the host. I mean, she recruits lots of hosts, but she's never recruited a guest. She's like, I'm gonna recruit a guest. I'm saying it all backwards. And then she did it. That's where this is coming from.
and I literally, all I had to do was get over it. Like,
Shocker.
Right? She got over herself.
this one tells me I told you so a lot.
I swear.
It's really fun.
So, I mean, you should stop doubting yourself right now.
Right? That's what I told her.
I said these things.
I literally sat there and I was like, do I actually do this or not? And I'm like, what do I have to lose?
Right.
Why don't I just offer it to her? Like, I'm like, it's all going through my head, this whole conversation with myself. So I offered her the opportunity, and she's like, oh, I could actually use some part-time income.
Oh.
So basically, you just asked. Yes, I literally, like, I had the conversation in my head, and I just did it. And she lives in New Jersey, and she has 2 young kids, and she literally wants to do this and get some part-time income.
But if you don't ask, the answer's always no.
Right.
And I just recruited a guest at a party a month ago that was here at the studio. And she came in, we started the party and everything, and she goes, you know what, I think I want to sign up. And I gave her the opportunity to turn that into her grand opening party, because it was her mom's party and so that was her mom and her friends.
Yeah.
So we turned that into her grand opening party because she was a guest at her mom's party. Hi, Caitlin, if you're on. And so I did do that. I forget that I do things.
But what you guys aren't talking to, for them that are watching, because if I'm watching and I don't, what did you do to talk to that person? Like, how did
What
you
words
bring-
did you use?
Yeah, like, were you playing Ask Me a Question about my job? Like, how?
Yes.
So you just said you recruited them, but give them some more info on
So
How you did it.
the say yes offer is how I always, almost always approach it, because that's a tool Tupperware gives us, so use it. So it's an extremely discounted price of whatever it is. Offer that. Don't, if you're at a home party and you've demoed it, talk to them about that. If you want this, here's how you can get it for $15, $30, whatever it is.
where
right?
are you talking to them at? So you're doing a party. So
Yeah.
you're still not giving them the data.
Checkout. Sorry, at checkout.
Okay.
So you're sitting down with them, talking to them, or maybe they even have, like this month, let's say they have the pressure cooker on their order form. You can say, well, you've already said it to them, right, in the party possibly, but they don't hear you. So you say it to them again. I can help you get this for $30.
So while you're totaling their order.
While you're totaling their order. And I do Facebook too, and so Facebook I get the deal or no deal game or the envelope game, and that's just giving them they get 3 deals. That's one of the deals. Is the join my team, get
Pressure cooker for
Yeah.
$30. Get
So if you aren't using the say yes offer, you're just ask me a question about my job. How are you going to recruit one of those people that's a guest?
I think part of it is listening, and this is an area of growth for me, so take that with a grain of salt, but
because you're a teacher. In a good way.
in a good way.
No, she is. She's like one of the best trainers ever. For real.
thank you.
You're welcome.
But it's listening to them during the party even, and listening and saying, oh, this person said that, they really want this, but they can't afford it. Or they really want all this, and this, but they can't afford it. So then it's like, hey, did you know that, at checkout, I heard that you're really interested in A, B, and C, and that, maybe it's a little tight right now. Did you know that as a Tupperware consultant, we get a 25% discount? And in fact, that's why I signed up, is because I wanted so much from the catalog and I couldn't afford it. So I knew that I wanted to buy things over time. Is that something that interests you, or would you consider that? Because then you're listening to their needs. Christmas is coming up, and gosh, I really want to be able to get this for my kids. What if we could get you $500 extra to help with Christmas? So listening to them during those moments of interaction during the party, and making some of those mental notes, so that when you do go to checkout or later on in the demo, you're like, oh, I heard you say that you were saying that you needed a little extra money for some Christmas gifts. You want to ask me how much I can make it up, in a month for Tupperware? Because now you're kind of playing into that. And then when you check out again, you're like, hey, so are you thinking you need some extra money? But it's really listening to them. And that is the starting point.
Yeah. And I'm going to add on to that, because you really do, whether it's a home party or a Facebook party, you have to pay attention. So like with Facebook parties, I will literally go through their comments to see what they've commented on, what did they say, and then I will just talk to them. I want to talk to them as if I was at a home party, because you guys know I do way more home parties than I do Facebook parties, but I still want to talk to them. I want them to be a real person. I want to be a real person to them too. There was something else I was going to say, and I don't remember what it was.
So if you're playing Ask Me a Question About My Job, which I know Heidi and Stephanie for sure do.
I do.
My guess would be that all of you do. But let's say you're playing that and you're listening to the people. Are you bantering it with them? And if so, what are you saying? If I ask a question and I say, how much money do you make a month? Or I ask, are you talking back and forth with them as a consultant in the middle of your playing the game?
More than just answering their question.
Are you bantering with them?
Usually it sparks a conversation, especially when somebody does ask, how much money do you make? And I always make sure that if somebody doesn't have a question, that's the question I give them, because people might be afraid to ask.
Well, I had one person wonder how much free Tupperware I got every month, because they thought that's all I did.
Right.
Like, yeah, I totally paid off my house and built a garage on Tupperware.
Yeah.
It's plastic.
So it usually
Close
that.
the door,
Anyway, continue.
I mean, it's better than first and first.
I feel like that question specifically sparks conversation, because then they're like, oh, and didn't you earn this? And oh, didn't you earn that? Because even though it's a home party, I still make my Facebook event, and I still will add people as friends. So they'll still see what I'm doing in my real world, whatever, but it's also Tupperware world, right? But it'll spark a conversation. So I feel like that's where then even the guests start interacting more. It's like, oh, right, you asked that question, and it starts the round of
Everybody asks.
And I do banter back and forth, but I'm also really honest. It's like,
Yes.
hey, I started this because I really did just want to buy cheap Tupperware. I wanted to be able to modular make my kitchen.
She did. She gave me like a page and a half of stuff she wanted.
And I could
Not
afford
Dawn,
that.
not a list.
I know, right? It was written with teacher handwriting and everything.
Anyway, and then it's grown into this amazing thing for my family, and we have a car that we can drive now that doesn't cost us any money. We've been to Disney World twice. We're on our way for the third time. I've been to New York. It's amazing what world it's opened up for me, and talking about the real things, and I talk about different types of things. Like, I have friends that I never had before. I have
Your husband has friends.
my husband has friends. That is very true.
That's a big deal.
That is a huge deal. My husband has friends because he is very much a homebody. And my kids have opportunities. I can send them to karate camp now and not worry. So I talk about the various different things because it isn't just about money.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, it is about, hey, I need extra money.
Money is a great tool.
It's a great tool. But sometimes it's about, I have a social network. I've been a teacher for almost 20 years, and I have great teacher friends, and I love them dearly, but that was just one area. Now I've got 2 different ways of making friends and expanding our social life. And, my kids know other people's kids that they didn't know before and have new friendships that they don't have. And I get celebrated for things that I do really well, because as a teacher, I get not celebrated a lot for things. I got ringed a lot, but you never know what the person's why is, and so listening to what they might need, and then talking about how Tupperware has added that for you, whether it's money or friends or recognition or social time or whatever it is.
Even Christmas presents.
Yeah.
Even if they just need Christmas presents. When I first started selling, Daniel had a good job. He had insurance and everything. We didn't need the money. I just wanted cheap Tupperware. And when I realized that I actually was making money with Tupperware, it was like this big epiphany. So 6 months of my parties, I didn't talk about how you could actually make money. And once I started talking about the fact that you can actually make career level money with Tupperware, then it was like I started recruiting like this, because I didn't need the money, so I assumed nobody else did. Okay? You can't assume. Recognition is not that big of a deal for me. I could care less if I walk across the stage. I don't want to be the person that's in front of everybody, and that's not me. It's not my aspiration. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's just not me. So I have to purposefully recognize my team and my family members, and I have to be very purposeful and conscious about that, because just because I don't need it doesn't mean they don't need it. Mm-hmm. And I notice on my team page, my personal team, they can attest to this, that you can tell when I'm being more purposeful because I'm recognizing for everything. And I know that every single accomplishment is a success. I know that. Every single confident start level, that's a success. That should be recognized. Every single weekly award, if they got it, that's a success. Like, you can earn so much free stuff. If they did, I don't know, what else? I don't know, everything. Everything you can earn, every accomplishment, top seller of the week, top recruiter of the week, and just everything. Celebrate, because I don't know who needs that. I had one gal call me in tears because she's like, I've had the worst week, but knowing that I was the top seller, I knew I did something right that week. We've all been there. It's a big deal.
So in your party, remembering that the guests, you don't know what the guests need either, so that listening and then talking about how Tupperware could meet that need is a way to recruit the guests in a party.
Yeah.
Something I did way in the very beginning, I should go back to this because I kind of
You're
have
such a
forgotten
genius.
about it.
She's learning so much.
I
know.
know.
No fun. Okay,
It's
so
a moment of learning.
well, and I don't do this because I don't use these anymore, but I should go back to it. So Kirsten loves the big order form, the long one. I don't. I use the little short one that came in your kit. But I really should go back. So one of the things I remember in the very beginning, so there may be some of
So
you
I trained her
out there.
well at the beginning is what she's saying.
Yeah.
And then she stopped listening or
She started forgetting.
Take her in there.
I still don't like the big ones, but I should go back to do this. So one of the things I remember in the very beginning, okay, because I'm going to cuss again, and then I'm going to get bleeped. The whole video is going to be bleeping me.
I don't think Kirsten knows how to do that.
Oh, good.
Let's put a smiley face on your mouth.
you might be only have your kit. Okay, so there's going to be some of you out there that are going, I can't do a home party because you guys are talking about having these pieces and these pieces and these pieces, and all I have is my kit. In the very beginning, I only had my kit. Okay, so that was all I could talk about, right? I could only talk about my kit, and I wasn't going to cook food at a party because I didn't understand this Tupperware stuff. Anyways, it's just a bunch of plastic, and so I'm not going to cook food in this bunch of plastic. I don't know how it works. Right, whatever. So Kirsten had me take the large order form, and I highlighted on everybody's order form what came in the kit. Okay, so everybody's got an order form sitting there, and I'm talking about everything that comes in my kit. They're going through that long order form. If you haven't seen it, you guys, it's got every product on it, and they just put the quantity that they want. Okay, so now you've gone up there and you've talked about the Power Chef. It's highlighted on the form. They're like, oh, I want that. And then you've talked about the classic bowls and how they fit together and all the great things about that. Oh, I want those too. By the time they're done, they've brought you an order form and they've checked off every single thing you've highlighted.
And then you agree them.
And you go, guess what? Do you know that for what you've spent here, your $300 that you've spent to buy everything I talked about today, for $99, and just today it's $39 plus tax because they have a special deal going just today, guys.
Right
For
now,
just
hurry before
today,
it's gone.
They have a special deal for $39. You can get everything that you've highlighted and more on your sheet. And I forget that you taught me to do that way in the beginning, and that's how I
Why don't you tell
originally
them all
built my
why I
team.
like the long order form too? Why don't you just give them a little more data?
I don't know why you like it, because I
it's
don't
a
like it.
wish
It's
list.
painful. But
People spend more, and you can use it as a wish list. Because they're not writing out prices, they're doing one here, one here, one here, one here, and it doesn't look like it's as much.
And then you can also see what has been scratched out.
Yes.
And then their phone number is right there. You ask for the husband.
Well, and you can say, circle everything you like that I talked about, and if you get to the end, you have lots of circles without very many checks. You need to have a party or you need to join my team because you want more than you can spend today.
We don't write down the wrong numbers.
That's true too.
Don't write down the wrong numbers.
So many reasons why I love that order form, plus it was super simple to add up. There was just less writing.
And if you have a 10-year-old that needs extra cash, hand them a highlighter and say, make them all look like this. And then they do it.
Typically better if they're 12 or above, but
Well, if you're
Alex would be fine.
Well, he's 8. Yeah, he's fine. Emma. I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time with Emma.
Okay. Okay, so we have a few minutes where I have set aside some time for Q&A, so questions and answers. Oh no, wait, just kidding, lies. First, before we do Q&A, Amy's going to show you how to close the deal on booking a party, how to play the spatula game.
yes.
And then we're going to do Q&A. So just kidding.
One nice.
Stop talking.
Not
It's
at
one
one
night.
night. She said I get to be that night.
She's making rules.
I have to be my party guest. Okay, so Heidi, go down.
You need
Sit
that.
down.
Here,
Yeah.
turn this way.
So explain what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a party game, a booking game that I play at my parties. Kirsten said that you have this warm audience at your parties, right? That is the place to book your party. So this is one of the ways I do it. These are all of the Tupperware. They're all tangled.
And that's okay because then
Yeah,
you dangle
because
them.
then you make noise and all that good stuff. So when these are sales aids in your back office, you can order these as sales aids. I don't know what currently is available. When keychains are available, for me personally, I go on and order whatever they have because I don't know when they're coming and when they're leaving. So this is a random mixture. I almost always try and at least have these two, the Shape-O ball because that's an iconic thing, and then the Vatsa bowl because it has the seal, right, that people put their pills and things in. So the spatulas, the spatulas I get from Stephanie, she orders them somewhere cheap, but if you don't have spatulas, I went to the craft store and got wooden dowels and just wrapped like a pretty pipe cleaner around them. You can fancy them up. There's all different ways you can attach a keychain to something, okay, and on the keychains, or I'm sorry, the spatulas, they all say something, so you want to be able to have writing on whatever you're using. The dowels will work. You can write little teeny tiny fine print on them. So that's my setup. You're also going to put it in a cup that's not see-through, right? You don't want them to see what you have on here.
Tupperware cup.
A Tupperware cup. This is the best one. Honestly, it's the right size. It's the right height. You can't see through it. Okay.
What it is.
Over.
Oh, it's an insulated tumbler. Yeah, we'll
It's
tip over.
this one without the lid.
Seal. I may have picked up in the difference. That quality came. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about that so far? Where I get this, how it's set up? Okay, so there's 10. There's 5 that say party. There are, I think it's 2 that say bonus. Basically, the other 5 are a combination of bonus, keep me, and 10%. Okay. Bonus is my trade-up.
Oh.
So bonus has to do with booking a party. So when you're running the numbers, keep that in mind. Bonus will be some version of booking a party. And then the 10%, the trick to that one, I tell you, you want an ugly keychain. I don't know if this has been talked about before, but an ugly keychain that you want to have, because with 10%, they're going to trade you back the keychain, right? And you give 10%. So you don't always want it being the cute, fancy one. The idea of this game is the more people that pull party, the better, right? So ugly keychain, 10%. Okay.
Clarify it's 10% off of one.
10% off of one item, yes.
And you should write that.
I will go into party mode here in a minute so you can hear all of my actual, it's like that, like Kirsten said, you can do this in your sleep. You can probably play this in my sleep. Okay, so I've done my party, I've done my demo, I've done my ask me a question. So I've got some past hostesses now, recruits in the room. They're like, yep. So I've done my ask me question about my business, and now I'm like, okay guys, I've got one more game we're gonna play. And I tell them straight up, I say, this is my bribery game. So-and-so played this game at our last party, it's why you're all here, right? And I keep this light and happy and joking, right? So I get everybody's attention that way. These are my party people.
She begs for that at every party.
So I say, this is my bribery game and my booking game. These are super cute keychains from Tupperware. And the only way you can get these is by playing this playing this game with me. So I'll talk about a couple. This is the That's-A-Bowl. It has the little seal. This is the Shape-A-Ball. And yes, there's a piece in there. Okay, and I go through a couple of them. The idea is to make them make noise, right? Make them attractive. People want these. So I explain. On each spatula, and you tell them if you're using spatulas, they're not Tupperware. Okay, they're going to break. You don't want them, so I'll need those back. But playing this game, you have choices. On the spatula, there's something written. It says party, keep me, 10%, or bonus. So if you play with me and you get party, it means we get to party. Keyword get to party, okay?
Okay, got it.
If it says keep, I'm sorry, okay. If it says party, it means we get to party. You get to keep the cute little keychain and we're gonna party with your friends. If it says keep me, you get to keep the keychain. I'll let you party if you want to, because I'm never gonna say no to a party. If you get 10% off, you're gonna give me back the keychain and I'm gonna give you 10% off one item. I don't care if it's on sale or if it's on the regular catalog, one item. And if it says bonus, I'll explain that if you pull bonus. Okay, at that point, that's the key information you want them to have. Bonus has to do with whatever you want it to do. It has, for me personally, when they pull bonus, I'll explain it. I'll say, okay, great, I've got certain dates I need to party with people. If you can fill one of those dates, you're gonna trade up your keychain for X amount, whatever, a $25 item, okay? It can be extra hostess credit. It can be something you have in your stash. It can be whatever you want it to be to make it work for your business, okay? It can be if you party in the next 2 weeks, you're gonna get something bigger, okay? But the idea is the bonus specific to your business, benefiting your business specifically, and then whatever reward or prize you want to give, okay? So I go through that, but I don't explain the bonus because they're not gonna listen. That's the key information is what they've already been given. I'll say the only rule to this game, and I make sure that I have everyone's attention, is that if you'd rather never, ever, ever, okay, and I make a point to be super dramatic, want to have a party, then please don't play. But the worst thing that happens is I show up and make you food, right? And everybody's like, yeah, okay, yeah, right? So then I go around the room, okay? Don't ever let go of the cup. They don't get to see inside, right? So you need to be in control of the cup and make sure you make eye contact with every single person that you're offering this to, okay? The other thing, keep in mind, maybe I know Dawn was like, oh, I really want those fridge hearts. I think I need to have a party. Oh, I could invite so-and-so. You've already heard Dawn talking about the party, right? At the party. You're going to start with Dawn because Dawn's more likely to pull party and be super excited, which is then going to start the whole trickle-down effect. Okay. Ooh. You can pick which one you want.
Can I hold the cup?
No.
This is my
cup. Yes! Party! Right? Yay! Okay. Wrong answer. Yay! well, if they're not Stephanie, at that point they go, yay, with you. She told me to do that. I just want to point
She
that
got
out.
party ready. What's on the thing?
Party. I actually had to swear once, and then she's like, oh, wait.
Was it Heidi?
Was it Heidi?
Oh wait, I didn't want to keep me just a second. There was a reason. Bonus. But you know what? I really want to have a party. Can I just trade her?
Well,
She gets the
you get
bonus?
to have a party.
But I get that aspect.
Oh,
I don't.
no, that's her special keychain. You get this one. We'll talk about the details later. Hush them up because you'll get them later. Right?
It's a big deal because if they keep talking, they'll talk themselves out.
Yes. Now let's say that somebody didn't want to play, right? Let's do a nobody game.
Yeah.
All right, so done my whole spiel. Okay, yay. No, thank you. Okay.
No, I don't have a party.
Oh my goodness. They're all party poopers, right? Okay, well, then you explain. You say, so-and-so, Heather needs to have 2 of her friends. At least 2 of her friends book a party. Let's try this again. Sure. You know you really wanted those fridge nuts for half price. I'd love to help you get them. Look, there's even a fridge smart. How cute is that? And then this one, I honestly don't know what's on my keychain, so be careful.
I'll come.
There, Stephanie will come. You have one guess.
Hey.
Okay.
Oh, I got bonus.
Yes, good. We'll talk about those details.
All right.
Oh, no, I'm gonna go to her party.
Okay, that's okay. You can book a party at her party, and she gets credit. Okay, go to her party. Okay, so even if you get 1, right, you can still, these people played with me, right? They were interacting. So when you're checking out with them, remind them again, okay? And this sits at the checkout counter, or the checkout spot counter with me, because I don't want people digging through this, right? This is our goal. Any questions?
Okay. So do they get, are you giving them the keychains when they're
When
checking
they,
out?
yes, so
So you're not holding on to it and you're bringing it to their party.
So after the game is played, I'll say something like, okay, I'm gonna sit over here and I'll be able to help you with the orders. If you pull party, bring your spatula to me. And this is true. They're really hard to get off there. So I'll tell them, I'll help you get that off, but because I'm gonna need the spatula back. So usually when they come to me and they're checking out, they have this whole thing and I'm like, okay, and I'm taking this off and taking their order and then I'm booking their party right then and there.
But you are giving them the keychain.
Yep, I give them a keychain, I give them their hostess packet.
Because a lot of times they take that keychain and they put it on their keys right away, and they don't cancel their party with me because they feel a little bit of guilt every single time they grab their keys.
And it costs you what, $1 something?
They think of you every single time they grab their keys because they've got that key.
And then it's
Yeah.
almost like at their party, sometimes they'll go get their keys out of their purse. Look, I put it on my keychain, and they get excited. So.
And then you give them an extra ticket.
Well, and you remind them that at their party, they're gonna, you're gonna bring free gifts for them and all that kind of stuff still. So, I can't wait to shower you with more free gifts. They earned this one then and there. Because I've done that once, but I was kind of told to hold on to it till it came to their party. But then they never
With these
kept their
specifically,
dates. Right.
because the cost of them and also the availability sort of to me of them, I give them because there's that, like Heidi's saying, there's that, oh, they're going to think of you, they're going to remember, there may be some guilt. Okay, I need to hold this party because I got my prize.
Now, if there's a bonus, then I will write their name on the bag. See, I do a bonus bag. I'll write their name and their party date on it. I'm like, okay, when you hold your party on this date, I'm going to bring it to your party and you're going to bust that open and make everyone else at your party jealous.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that.
Bigger
I do.
prizes, I do wait.
If I do a bonus bag or something.
Is it good?
What would you put in the bonus bag?
Whatever I bring.
Whatever.
Free.
I don't spend any money on it.
I mean, when you come here, you're getting stuff under your chair that can go in one of my bonus bags.
And if you get a set of bowls, you put them all separately with the lids on so that bag looks huge, even though it's just one. Don't nest them. They can figure out that they nest later.
I also usually put stuff in there that they can't buy because I want them to buy the things in the catalog and the sale flyer. I don't want them to get them for free. So it'll always be something odd and weird. They can't buy this one orange bowl. I mean, they can't. So it's going to be something a little bit different. As directors, we end up with these garage fulls of Tupperware, so we end up with a little bit more. But you can always contact your director too and see what they have because we can always help you out with that. That's usually not something that we are.
Yeah, my team knows that all they have to do is say, I need some free stuff. Okay, if I got a challenge for you,
Right.
I will happily give you free stuff. We're good?
It's Q&A
Done?
for home party. It's Q&A. All about home
I think we just,
Okay, there's more,
yeah.
there's more hands.
So when you do the food demos, I've noticed on the folder that they give us to give them,
Mhm.
it tells us to like put a shopping list for them.
Mhm.
You do that or you bring the stuff?
The rest, like the ingredients?
Yeah.
I do that in host coaching. That's one of my touch points. And yeah, I have them bring the ingredients. They have to purchase the ingredients.
Okay.
It says right in the catalog with the thank you gift as a thank you for providing ingredients and having 175 in sales. They
So
get this
what
free
if-
gift.
What if you get a host that's like, oh, I can't afford to have a party because I can't do that?
I like worst case scenario, you can get a cake and a can of Coke.
Right.
Like they probably have a cake mix and a can of Coke. They probably don't have to buy it. I said, okay, well let me see. We could do a Coke cake. Do you have a can of Coke and a chocolate cake? A cake mix? Oh yeah. Okay, just set those aside so you don't use those. We'll just use that so it doesn't cost you any money. Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of both. I just got a question about the Microwave Pro
Mhm.
and asked how much it was.
Mhm.
Well, if they say, well, I can get that on Amazon for such and such amount of money.
Then you. Okay, so they said, what if they can find it on an off seller, like an Amazon or something? Walmart's been the buzz. That's not Walmart selling Tupperware. Those are other sellers selling on Amazon or on Walmart's site. So you can go at it a couple of different ways. You can say, okay, but it's home business that you are supporting me. Like I saw something on Facebook last week that was kind of a good reminder. When you buy something from Walmart, then nobody does a happy little dance. Seriously, if you buy from a home business, every sale is a happy little dance. Like you're making a difference in that person's world. So you could go that route. I tend to not, but I know some people do, and it's fine. You can go the route, you get me, and I am your Tupperware consultant. I want to help you. If there's a problem with that, I'm going to try to make you happy. You get the customer service of being a Tupperware representative. The other thing is, if it's an off seller, you can say, actually, those are people who are not allowed to be selling Tupperware on those sites. That's against Tupperware policy. So I can't promise you where that has been. I can't promise you how it's been used, or if it is used or not. I can't promise you any of those things because it did not come from the Tupperware factory. So that's what I tend to go with, because you can't argue with fact. You can argue with the feels, you can't argue with fact.
And like, how did they get it to a point where they could sell it for less than what I can sell it to you as a consultant? They either stole it or
cleaned out
off,
grandma's
or,
garage, or
you know,
who knows how they got it and how.
or it's not a genuine product.
Right. Yeah, my favorite is when I'm on eBay and I see Tupperware. I'm like, yeah, that's not Tupperware. Yeah. Some poor soul's gonna get that and they're gonna be very bitter. Yeah.
So with checkout at a home party, the parties I've done get really overwhelmed because everyone's shoving their order forms in my face at the same time, and they all want their total right then and there, and I have to script total because I have so many people in my face. How do you make that more organized so it's not?
So for checkout, she's asking about checkout. So for checkout, I tell them I'm going to be over here. And you can even say, like, if that's a real thing in your world, and you say, I would love to help you one at a time. When you're ready, come join me over here. You want to be away from the rest of the group. And then when that person leaves you, then they're going to see, and then there might be a rush, but usually only one, if it's a separated area. Now, if you're just sitting in the middle of the party, then yes, they're all going to be standing waiting. Go to a separate area. I'll go to the kitchen, or I'll go to the dining room table. I'll go somewhere that is separated from the rest of the group so I can talk to that person. Huh? You do all this stuff. So if they were interested in the fridge smart, or if they asked a really good question, you want to be able to talk to them without their friend's input. Yeah, so take them away from their friends. You want to meet them in the kitchen, on the counter, or at the table, wherever. And then you want to just talk to them as a person. You don't want their friend's opinion on their order or their party or their whatever you're talking about. It's not their business.
Something I want to say, because this was something that came up in my team when people first started doing home parties. You never close your home party that night. Because at the very end, when you are doing your closeout with the hostess, I will sit there and I'll go, oh my gosh, Stephanie, look at, you are at $430 right now. So you get $43 in one half price item. But if we close your party, let's say we'll close your party in 3 days. If you get to 500, you're going to get another half price item and 75 in free.
You're nicer than me. I give them a day. maybe 2.
Okay, well, whatever, you could give them a day or 2 or 3, whatever you're gonna give them. But I found that if you are a Facebook party or you're used to the party ending, you collect the orders and you close it. With a home party, unless you're doing it on a Friday night at month end and there's a reason you're doing it that way, I never close the party at the party right then and there. I always leave the hostess with her next goal to reach. If she's at 500, your next goal is going to be 600 so that you can get this. Your next goal, and I always leave them with that so that they go and work. And then I follow up the next day. How are you doing reaching your next goal? Because if you don't follow up with them the next day, I guarantee they have forgotten what their goal is, and you need to follow up with them.
You may ask them a question like, who wasn't able to come tonight that you want to give a call to tomorrow because you want to make sure that they get their order placed?
Well, and make sure that you include bookings in that goal too, because if they only have 1 booking, they might have $800 in sales, but if they only have 1 booking, they don't get the bonuses.
Yeah.
And don't you dare give it to them if they didn't earn it. Don't do it, because your business dies without parties. Tupperware knows that, and they give you these tools. Use them. That's not you being mean.
And if they're
That's
like,
following
come
the
on,
rules.
you know you've got other parties, you can just count it. No, I'm sorry.
Can't, they're
Tupperware-
already in the system.
They're already in the system. I put them under, so-and-so's party that I booked from them. So, the Tupperware system, I got to put them in there. So, because if you do that for one and
then you're out of
you're
parties.
out of parties.
And then you make no money.
So don't do it. It's, corporate puts those words and those restrictions there for a reason. It's to help
help us.
our business. That's why we have hard deadlines for month close and for flyer close. And I'm sorry, this will not be available tomorrow.
And if you tell them, no, even as a consultant, I don't have a wiggle room. Like a lot of direct sales, they have a week or 2 weeks wiggle room. There's no wiggle room. It ends at midnight for me too.
It ends at, I will not be able to do it. So that you gotta take advantage of it now. That's to help us.
There's something very beautiful about that.
There is, yes. It's been.
You make money
lifesaver.
sooner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you, Stephanie.
Okay.
So if you're doing food demos, what happens when you show up and they have a dirty kitchen or a dirty microwave?
I grab a sponge.
Okay.
I'll help them clean up.
I bring Dawn. All right.
Do you host these stuff with them to make sure that the place is
No.
One would hope they had a social skill.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I am very careful about judging people in their kitchens and stuff. Like if it's disgusting, which most people it's not going to be, it's going to be fine. And then if you start telling people, can you just run a sponge over your counters before I get there? Then you already have a negative connotation of them. You've assumed that their kitchen is going to be dirty, and that's all they see is, oh, well, what kind of a person do you think I am? That you don't want to go there. Just grab a sponge. It's fine.
If it were Stephanie, she'd make the kitchen messier.
I probably would.
Usually when you get there, if they're kind of finishing up, you're like, how can I help you? You get your stuff set up and how can I help you? And, I'm really specific about what I've told them I want them to prep or not prep. Like, hey, just leave the onion and the garlic and the cilantro on the counter. I'll take care of it when I get there so that I'm already in the kitchen kind of helping out, that kind of thing. And that's part of where it can kind of then not be about me. It actually gives me something to do when I get there. So
you're not
that
awkwardly
I'm
trying
not
to come up with
awkwardly,
conversation.
Hi, how are you? How was your week?
I know nothing about you.
How was your week? Just start going.
Okay, I'm sorry, next to me is
Heidi.
Heidi, sorry. Heidi, what do you do at your parties if you're not demoing?
Oh.
Well, there is.
She doesn't remember.
What do I do? You should have seen the video. Oh, I did fake food one time. That was really fun too. I sold a ton of snack cookers during snack. No, I don't ever chop ice.
I swear you told me to.
I do ice. She doesn't.
If nobody wants to.
Okay, so I start the first part of my party, and I thought we have a video of me doing a home party somewhere, but maybe it's not on Rock On.
I think it's just on
You
the
shared it.
Chrissy has it.
Chrissy has it. She shared it with her team, so
That's
maybe
where I
we'll
saw
get it somewhere on Rock On. I'll let one of these people do it. I always start the first part of my party talking about what's on sale. So I go through the sale flyer, and I have some of the sale items with me, and I talk about my favorite things that are in the sale flyer. I play Ask Me About My Job, and then I talk about 3 or 4 of my favorite products out of the catalog, usually Fridge Smart, Vet and Serve. I always bring a piece of cookware or something high value. I make sure that when I'm talking about catalog stuff, that I'm talking about high value, because every single thing is, I will take your $1,000 now, or we can host a party and get it for half price. So I always make sure the things that I talk about out of the catalog are my favorite things and that they are higher value. I don't talk about spatulas in the catalog. So sale flyers, ask me about my job, the catalog, and then I play the keychain game or smidget game. And I have somebody set a timer in the party for every 15 minutes. So I do drawings. So every 15 minutes, so yeah. So when they come in, they each get 3 tickets. And then I have a ticket helper. So I'd say, Stephanie, can you be my helper for tickets? I'll give you 3 more tickets. Anytime you ask a question during the party, you get a ticket. Okay.
And when you do that, they'll give way more tickets than you ever will.
Yeah.
Like I swear my roll was half gone last night because she was.
And I always say, Stephanie is now the ticket judge, and she gets to judge whether your question is ticket worthy. That's no longer my judge. And it gets that person so excited to be the ticket person.
That was the first thing my person did last night was she went around, gave everybody 3 more tickets. I'm like, whatever.
I'm out. and then
I know.
And then I ask somebody else, does somebody have a cell phone here that knows how to work the timer? That's very clear. And I will have Amy, so she goes, oh, I can do it. I'll give her 3 more tickets, and I'll go, will you set your timer for every 15 minutes? The reason I do that is because I have 30 minutes where I'm talking about sale items right around there. There should be 2 drawings from the beginning of introductions, sale items. When that second drawing happens, I have her pause the timer. I do ask me about my job. I have her start it again. And the second 30 minutes are me talking about things in the catalog and playing my game so that I know I can keep my party to an hour, about an hour, hour and 15 minutes. If I talk longer than an hour and 15 minutes, everybody tunes me out the room. The only way that I can keep on track is if I have somebody keeping time. And I know I can do 4 drawings in a party, and that's about max.
I don't know if you know this, but the products you just mentioned, so the Fridge Smart and the Meester, they aren't really demo products. Is that intentional or not?
You mean they're not
They're
just
sets.
products?
They're sets. That's what she does.
Okay,
They're sets.
because she asked, what do you do if you're not cooking? Well, like the pressure cooker, the power chef, those are what we do with our cooking demos because we demo them.
So I just talk about how I use them in my house.
She says,
I guess
here's these strawberries. We're going to reconvene in 2 weeks.
Oh, I do. I have my girls are all back. They're like, we know what you do. You've done parties for us. For Fridge Start, I have a picture of my lettuce. Okay. And I bring that picture and I pass it around and I show them what my lettuce looked like at 4 weeks. And there's a picture of Nutella in the back. It's really a picture of my lettuce on my counter with a container of Nutella. And I say, my son loves that I bring this picture because he always says, that's my Nutella. So people know they relate that to me. This is really my lettuce. With Modular Mates, I have an article from a family family circle magazine that I cut out a long time ago. It was like 20 years old, and I picked up the magazine and found an article about bugs in the pantry. And I'll bring that and I'll read what the article said, and I'll talk about the bugs in the pantry and what this article said and how I go and do pantries and about my pantry and things. So I talk about my experience. I did one time, the stack cooker will do 4 things at once, and I brought fake food. And I said, in the bottom, we're going to put this, 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 and this, and we're going to put it in the microwave, and this is what's going to come out. I still, no, I didn't really put it in the microwave. It was actually paper. I printed it off, and I cut it all out, and I just put it in there. I sold a ton of stack cookers just doing fake food.
But it tastes good.
Tastes like paper.
With the Power Chef, almost every single party, they will have a veggie tray. It is, people go to Costco and they buy a veggie tray.
Yeah.
If the Power Chef, if they have a veggie tray, I will grab carrots or something off of the veggie tray and I will demo the Power Chef and I'll pass it around and let everybody do it because everybody loves that thing. Yeah. Okay. So I will do that. I just don't, I feel like the products I talk about, I'm not going to talk about products I don't use in my home. When Crystal Wave is on sale, this last flyer It was painful for me to talk about Crystal Wave.
I just
Because
say,
it
we're
is.
not gonna talk about this page next.
Yep, and but I'll actually just skip it. And I guarantee you somebody in my party will come and say, well, why didn't you talk about this? And I go, you know what, I'm gonna talk about Bit and Server just a little bit, and then I'm gonna tell you the difference between the two. And maybe you will want to go back and do that, but it's not my very favorite product. So let's hold that question, and we're gonna get back to it when I get to the Bit and Serve.
And it actually gives you credibility because you don't absolutely love every single thing.
I do. I get comments from my parties a lot. The silicone, I'm not in love with the silicone. So my last few parties, they've all asked me about the silicone. And I have said to them, you know what? If you are a baker and use silicone, you love this stuff. I'm a baker and I like this. I'm not a fan of it, so I can't really talk to it. I have sold silicone. I've sold silicone at every single party by talking about how I don't like it. But there's people that love it and they want it. And I'm just very honest about the products that I like and how I use it in my home. I don't need to do a food demo to tell you how I use the Power Chef in my home.
But I think it's good to point out that even though you don't like it, you don't shut it off for other
What I say
customers.
about Crystal Wave is I tell people, I say, if you have a cupboard right now full of Gladware or Ziploc or some of those containers, our containers are all BPA, phthalmite, and dioxin free. You know what? I want you, if you're sitting there going, well, I don't have $125. I just don't think I could buy that. You know what? Right now for $59, you can throw out all of that fakeware and you can replace it with this. And then in 5 to 7 years, when you are unhappy with what this is, and I said, you're not going to be unhappy with it. I tell what the difference is. This has to be on high and at 50, you know. And I said, when you want to replace and you're in a better financial place, let's move to Bit and Serve. But let's start with this if that's where we need to start. When you have a brand new home, when you just need to get rid of that bad chemical stuff. I am a really big proponent. I'm not really a crunchy mama, but I speak to the crunchy mamas really well about the chemicals that are not in our products, because I want them to know that they can have it. I'm never going to talk bad about a product. I'm just going to, it's not.
Yeah, the first year at the fair that I worked at the fair, I learned that there's no bad Tupperware products. There's just Tupperware products that don't necessarily meet my needs.
Right.
I earned a prize that I don't even remember. I really wish I could remember what it was. It was just me and Daniel at the fair all week. We're still so there was this product. I got it as, I don't remember what it was, and I put it on the shelf and I marked it way down. I'm like, I just want this gone. Like, it's the stupidest piece of Tupperware ever. And so I put it up there. I swear, the first customer that came in, I've been looking for this for 20 years. I can't believe you have it. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been saving it just for you. Like, so there's no bad Tupperware, just Tupperware that might not meet your needs. Yeah. Are we done?
How are we doing? Questions?
Anybody else have questions?
Good.
I
You guys want to give them a round of applause?
They were there all day long.
You guys are great. So, yeah. You wanna
Stop it or wait for you?
stop it and start again.